y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea and I'm a busy mama to 3 kiddos. Here on my channel you will find cleaning motivation, real life messes and moments, and anything you could think of that relates to the typical parent's workload. Because I'm a work out of the home parent, typically, this summer has been the exception, but because I'm usually in the office for a good 45 hours a week, like so many other parents out there, I tried to bring the real life perspective to y'all and share some life hacks that I've picked up along the way. One of those hacks is prepping freezer meals whenever I can to make work nights easier. This is the first recipe that I'm working on here. It's chicken nachos, and I'm going to include the recipes on the screen so that you can screenshot them as well throughout the video. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is breaking down my chicken breasts and trimming all of the fat. If you're finding it difficult to find chicken breasts lately, like I have been, I've actually started buying frozen chicken breasts, which are typically in stock whenever I go to the grocery store. So don't feel the need to have to use fresh ingredients all the time. Take the what am I trying to say? Take the help from the store and use the frozen stuff if you cannot find fresh. It is all about making things more simple for yourself. At the time this video is going live, it is the end of the summer and we are getting back into the swing of things for fall, getting all of our doctor's appointments finished up for this summer. So the kids are ready to go back to school. We are in the middle, at the beginning, not in the middle, we're at the beginning of the sports season. My boys play football, my daughter cheers for their teams, and I am actually headed back into the office on the kids' second day of school. So we are trying to get prepared, and by doing that, we are setting ourselves up for success by getting some freezer meals into the freezer so that they are easy to pop in the crock pot first thing in the morning, or to pull out and thaw and have Josh throw into a casserole dish once he gets home from work later in the evening while we are at practice. So it definitely takes a village, and we are going to be tag teaming this whole season for football, trying to make sure that the kids are getting fed at a decent, reasonable hour once we're home from school, or from sports. Ugh. So anyways, I take the gallon-sized Ziplocs, and that's how I freeze my meals. I know it's probably kind of wasteful to use plastic Ziplocs, but it is what it is, and this is just what is working best. I will write on there the date and the meal that's in there, and then any instructions that I need to pass along for whoever's going to be cooking it. So I just broke down my chicken. I threw it into a couple of Ziploc bags. I'm going to be dumping some taco seasoning in there, along with a can of Rotel, and that is literally it. So when you are going to make this, it doesn't have to be completely thawed because it is just going to be in a crock pot on low literally all day. I think I left this in my crock pot for a good 8 hours. No, longer than 8 hours. It was like 10 hours on this day. So it was absolutely delicious. I didn't get an aftershot of it, but it is, once it is in the crock pot and done, you just shred it up and then you go ahead and serve it with nachos. This next recipe is the broccoli, potato, and ham. That's right. Broccoli, potato, and ham casserole. Now this one is a casserole and does need to be thawed before you throw it into the casserole dish. Otherwise it won't cook evenly. But this one was absolutely delicious, and it called for potatoes. I would actually probably use frozen potatoes for this because it took those potatoes so long to cook. So just another tip or trick, whatever you want to call it, because I have made this before. So since then, I would definitely say frozen potatoes is a lot easier, and they cook more evenly too. So, and then I took some help from the store, pre-packaged ham steak, minimal fat, easy to chop up. Love this recipe. Another tip I want to add in here is if you have toppings like this cheese that need to go on top of the recipe, so like if it was a casserole or something, I just put it in an additional Ziploc baggie and throw it in with the freezer meal itself, so that whenever I do thaw this out and do put it into the casserole dish, this is plucked out kind of like the cheese packet in macaroni and cheese, and then it is added in on top. So I did just pad this with butter on top, seasoned it a little bit more with some Sloppy Mama seasoning. So good, so good. And then I covered it with aluminum foil, and I put it in to bake for however long the instructions said. All right, for this next recipe, we are going to be making cilantro lime chicken, and I did want to bring awareness to this awesome little gadget that I have here holding up my Ziploc bag that I got specifically because I saw it on another YouTube. I think it was Tiffany Beeston that was using these, and I was obsessed. And I have used them for several different recipes since I got it, so I am definitely going to link that down below for you guys. They're awesome. But anyways, I am going to be quartering up some chicken or portioning out some chicken, and then adding all of my seasonings to this bag. Super simple. I'm going to be crushing some garlic in this new garlic press that I got. It has made all of the difference in me chopping and chopping and chopping. I do take out not the skins, but you know how it leaves behind some garlic in the garlic press? I do take those out and I do chop them up and I do throw them in there, but I do remove like the papery skins, if you know what I mean. Anyways, nothing goes to waste. So I'm adding a ton of garlic, and if anyone starts asking if you're crazy for adding so much garlic, keep adding more. I don't remember who says that on TikTok, but I absolutely love her Cajun videos. They're so cute, and I agree with her. If somebody says there's too much garlic in this, they are the ones that are crazy, not you. I also added some lime. Excuse me. And it is very difficult getting the lime juice out of these limes. I don't think they were ripe enough, and I had a cut on my finger, so it was really burning. But anyways, I added as much lime juice as I could, and then I added some lime juice from the little lime bottles over there. So salt and pepper, a little bit of olive oil, and obviously cilantro, because this is cilantro lime chicken. And this really does have a great flavor to it. It's not necessarily like a Mexican flavor or anything like that. It's just super fresh, super refreshing because of all of the lime juice and the fresh herbs. And then we just throw this on the grill, serve it with potatoes or rice or anything like that. And it does hold its flavor, and it does have a really lovely flavor after it comes off of the grill. All right, so for this next recipe, we are breaking into this bag of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Like I said, if you can't find fresh, head for the frozen aisle because there will definitely be some there. I'm going to be making some white chicken chili. I love this recipe. It's super easy, and this is literally all you need. I just threw in some chicken breasts, a can of cannellini beans with the juice, a can of white corn. The white corn's my favorite. I think it's like crispier, sweeter. I don't know. I just prefer it. And then a can of green chilies. I'm adding in garlic powder, cumin, and chili powder. Measure with your heart. I don't really use measurements when it comes to cooking per se. Baking, definitely not cooking. And then also a white onion. I'm also going to be needing a box of chicken broth with this. And literally that is it. Salt and pepper to taste, and then serve it up once it's warmed through. And obviously when the chicken is done. You can also use canned chicken for this too. That will make it a lot easier for a weeknight meal if you don't prep this for a freezer meal. But I'm adding some Monterey cheese, a little bit of red onion, some cilantro, and some avocado. I do also like to top this with a little bit of sour cream if it's just a little spicy for the kids, and it is so good. Alright, so it's relatively quiet here today, so I'm going to do this one in a voiceover style. I have my crock pot here. We're going to make 2 portions, or 2, I'm going to double the recipe. So the second one is going to go in the freezer. I've already labeled my bag here, and then the first one is going to go into the crock pot for dinner tonight. So I'm going to line my crock pot before we get started. This is such a time saver. We have football tonight, so we're not going to have a whole lot of time to do anything today except for exactly what is on our to-do list, and scrubbing a crock pot is not one of those things. So save yourself some time. Crock pot liners. I'm going to go ahead and link all of the recipes that I've used in this video in the description box down below, as well as any awesome kitchen gadgets that I absolutely love. This is one of them, and it holds up your plastic bags while you're making freezer meals or packaging up leftovers, whatever you do with your plastic bags. So we're all set up here. I have prepped this ahead of time just because I got groceries for this recipe a few weeks ago and I didn't want the fresh ones to go bad. So I went ahead and I chopped up the vegetables that I was going to need, put them in a plastic Ziploc, and then I put them in the freezer until I was going to need them. As far as the corn goes, I had some leftover corn on the cob that we were not going to finish up before it went bad. So I went ahead and I cut it off the cob and I put that in the freezer as well so that we could repurpose that into this recipe. Any of the other ingredients that you're going to need, I'm going to go ahead and list on the screen. Like I said, all of the recipes are down below as well. And we're going to go ahead and start making this chicken enchilada soup. So I am using frozen skinless chicken breasts. I don't know if it's the same for you guys in your areas, but chicken has been so hard to come by. I can't open this. It's been so hard to come by lately, like fresh chicken breasts, especially at my grocery stores, at least at my Aldi. Probably because Aldi's prices are so dang good that I think the local restaurants are buying up all of the inventory. That they've had to put a limit on it, but like for large families that kind of stinks because we use that limit in one recipe, so it is what it is. So I think there's like 9 breasts in each bag, so I'm gonna just split that between these 2 bags, and I'll probably put an extra one in tonight's dinner just so that we have enough leftovers. Alright, so chicken breasts. This one is huge. Actually, those 3 are enormous, and these are all super tiny, so I'm just going to plop those, whatever's left, into the freezer meal. So next, the recipe calls for all of the vegetables to be fresh. Mine are frozen, doesn't really matter. They're going into a crock pot and back into the freezer. So it's 1 medium yellow onion, a red bell pepper, 4 cloves of garlic, for the fresh ingredients. Oh, and 2 cups of corn. I don't really measure, so we're just using whatever we've got. Lost my bag. Alrighty, now that that's in there, we're going to add a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. I only have 1 can, so I'm going to supplement the other recipe with, what is this called? Rotel. But this is Aldi's version of Rotel, obviously. A can of tomato sauce in each. A can of black beans in each. Whoops. And then half a can of chipotle peppers in each. Where the hell is my can opener? There it is. I don't drain my black beans because I like the sauce that they're in. I don't know if you're supposed to for health reasons or whatever, but why would they be in the sauce if you can't eat the sauce? You know what I mean? So, I always include the sauce. Those are big peppers. Maybe I should cut those. All right, so that was half a can of chipotle peppers and adobo sauce. I really hope that's not too spicy. Never really had those before. So that's everything in the crock pot. I'm gonna add a box of chicken broth. We like bone broth. That's just all the marrow and stuff in the bone broth, so no worries there. Okay. And then I'm gonna go ahead and season it. A little bit of slap your mama. This calls for oregano and cumin. I am just going to dump. I don't measure. Give that just a little bit of a zhuzh. Lid goes on, 8 hours on low, and then this will be done. Now, I know you're probably thinking, how are you going to get chicken broth in there? Well, I'm not. Actually, I'm going to season this before. Come on. I shouldn't have taken it out of there yet because I haven't seasoned it. I'm not going to put the chicken broth in this. I am going to write on the bag, however, that I do need to dump in 1 box of chicken broth. And I'm also going to write on the bag how long it goes into the crock pot for and on what setting. So once I take this out to thaw it, before I put it into the crock pot, I have all of the instructions. So this will go into the freezer flat so that once it's done once it's done freezing solid, I can go ahead, stand it upright, and store it in my freezer alongside all of my other freezer meals. So this is chicken enchilada soup, and once this is done tonight, I'll show you how it turns out. So it is 8:30. We just got home from football practice. So this has been on since, I think I put it on at like 10:30 this morning. On low. Give it a good stir. I did come in at like lunchtime and chop up the chicken. It definitely wasn't done. So yeah, this is what it looks like. I did ask Josh, he has already eaten. He said that it definitely could benefit going over some rice. So I'm gonna put like a little cornstarch slurry in this just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna make a pouch of 90-second rice because I'm not about to wait 20 minutes for rice to cook. So we're going to take it the easy route tonight. So I'm going to add that slurry, cook some rice, and then show you the finished product. So a cornstarch slurry is literally just cornstarch and water. I started with a heaping teaspoon or a heaping one of these of cornstarch, and then I put in like a splash of water and waited till it all dissolved. And I'm just going to pour it in here, and that will thicken this up nicely, but not too thick. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a little less runny. And it'll continue to thicken with the heat. So, all right, I'm gonna pop in a bag of 90-second jasmine rice, and then we're gonna serve it. All right, so I'm gonna eat this with some shredded pepper jack on top, a little bit of rice, and our chicken enchilada soup, and we are done. We have dinner at 8:30 at night when we get home from football. And I stuck the other one in the freezer, so it'll be ready for us in about a week or two whenever we have this again. For these next two recipes, I am going to be giving you some breakfast freezer meal ideas that you can prep ahead of time, pop in individual servings into the freezer, and then pull them out whenever you are needing a quick and easy breakfast. So I have these little ramekin dishes. They are ceramic and they are microwave safe that make the perfect round egg. You just crack an egg in there, whip it or beat it together like a scrambled egg, and then I do spray it with cooking spray beforehand so it doesn't stick. Microwave it for 30 seconds, flip it, microwave it again, and like I said, makes the perfect round egg for like an English muffin or a bagel or whichever. For this recipe, I am going to be making breakfast tacos, so that is what we're going to be starting on now. All right, y'all, for our last recipe for today, we are going to be making our version of egg bites. We typically use either ground pork or ground venison for this. Today we are using ground venison. I'm going to be browning that up in a pan, putting that in the bottom of a muffin, a silicone muffin pan, putting in some veggies, some eggs, some cheese, popping it in the oven, and then storing that in the fridge for the week for our breakfasts. I originally got this recipe from Amy Darley. She was the one who kind of gave me the inspiration to do the meat this way, and I have never turned back ever since I got this recipe from her. So in this particular recipe, I am using the equivalent to 1 pound of meat. We went ahead and mixed venison with pork sausage here, and then I'm going to be adding a stick of cream cheese. Here I had just a little bit left over from another pack, and then portion of another pack, so I'm just combining them, but it equals 1 full block of cream cheese. So I'm going to be mixing that in together, and we are going to be taking our wilted spinach, some veggies, this meat mixture, and putting that all together into a silicone muffin pan.
Wish I could say I was finally over you, but that's not the truth. Everyone always keep falling in love again. What's wrong with them? I don't understand. Maybe it will pass by, someone save me. Before I pass out, I'm too lonely to be done. I'ma drink at this place. Yeah. Why am I the only one who's left in the rain with nobody to hold on to? Ooh. Why am I the only one who's feeling this pain when there should be two of us? And yeah, I know we both wanted different things, but letting go just comes easy to you, don't it? Why am I the only one who's left in the rain? If I had an option to be someone else, I would, and let go of you. I know that I'm all
So it kind of depends on how much meat and vegetables you put into your muffin pan, but I usually use between 8 and 10 eggs for a dozen of these egg bites here. So if you're just doing eggs and cheese, then you're definitely going to need to use more egg. If you're filling it full of vegetables and meat like we are here, then less egg. But I would start with 8 and then add an egg as needed. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I really hope that you enjoyed all of these recipes. I definitely enjoyed making them for all of you guys. I still have some in the freezer ready and waiting for our busy nights, and I'm definitely going to be sourcing some more and hopefully sharing those with you a little bit later on down the road. Let me know down in the comments some of your favorite freezer recipes that you pull out on a busy weeknight whenever you've got a million things going on and dinner is just one of those things that you don't want to have to worry about. Thanks again for joining me here today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed these recipes, and I hope that you'll join me back here in my next video. Bye, y'all.